Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans. Don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Holy, look at that. There's 20, 30 people over there on YouTube. Sorry, started a little late here today. Tell you, man, working 7 days a week sucks horsecocks. Anyway, there's a way to start the video for you. Anyway, here we are for another weekend of frivolity. Actually gave myself permission to sleep in today. So I get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, which sucks even bigger horse, you know what? But actually I had a great meeting with an associate of mine yesterday, and we decided on two new trading plans, and actually I guess 3 different trading plans. So I'm really, really excited to get working on that in the coming weeks and months ahead. Only issue is how the hell do I get myself out of this damn horrible time zone where I have to wake up in the middle of the night to trade. Horrible, horrible, I tell you. But anyway, super excited about prospects going forward. And if anything, you know, the irony of it all is we sit here for like, 2-3 years while we're going through the bear, and there's nothing to do. And you're just trying to figure out how do you fill the time waiting for prices to come back down to earth. Well, guess what, folks? That waiting's over. So it's time to strap on your silly bags again. In fact, actually had a silly bag fire here overnight. Well, actually, it's been working for quite a while. But I didn't think we were going to come into my next double level. And unfortunately, I'm working in like DeFi and off these centralized exchanges, so I can't work open orders anymore, which is a pain in the ass. But my next sort of official double level is up here at this 48 level on this loom. But wow, what a crazy ass move, eh? And I mean, this is the reason why we get involved in this space, is exactly this. If it wasn't for this kind of price action, there would be no reason for me to be involved in this space. But I mean, that's like literally 10x right there, from basically the middle of September, right? The thing was like 4, 5, 6 cents, and here we are, just hit a high of 50 cents. I mean, gotta love Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's so awesome. But I mean, how often does Bitcoin do a 10x move like that? I mean, this is why I'm involved, and they call them the Schalt coins or shit coins or whatever the hell you want to call them. But damn, stone cold. And if anything, hopefully all of you see this kind of chart and go, well, that's pretty much typical what that Beamish guy is kind of touting for us to try and learn. And actually, in the newsletter today, Chris, did you dude up a newsletter link for me? I don't know whether he's still working on that. In the newsletter, I think we're going to show you this name this week. And it's, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's Loom or it's Bancor or whatever. I mean, these moves are so cliche. Like, the irony of it all is that, and in the newsletter and all that kind of stuff, we sort of pointed it out that, what do you see happening in the broader economy and the broader society with assets like in crypto space looking like this now? Do you see the public even the slightest bit interested? You can see I've got alarm set on this thing. I mean, that's like everything that you look for if you're going to be making investments, right? You want to try and come in, find assets that are at the bottom end of their trading range and are starting to spit out W's. And the good part, there was another name that I mentioned to you guys recently, that Frax. I mean, the good part about this is we're starting to see fundamental reasons why this stuff is doing stuff. And the fundamental developments are pretty cool. I gotta say, so I kind of like tongue in cheek made a reference here in the newsletter. Meanwhile, in the digital asset space, the drama continues to unfold in the trial of Dickhead Von Dickhead, and his buddy Gary and his girlfriend Caroline. My impression of all this, and the thing that really caught my attention, nobody's mentioning the fact that Frax has basically created a U.S. Treasury equivalent yielding vehicle. If we have Zug on here, he'd probably be able to describe it a hell of a lot better than I could. What do I want to show you? I want to show you this. Nobody's talking about that in the media. No, what are they talking about? And this is like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post. And this is what all the sort of higher ups of our society, those people that deem themselves intellectually whatever, they read these newspapers. And all of them have at least two articles on this SBF trial. And not a single mention, in the newsletter here. And I guess this is the Canva thing, so I should put this away. Where is Chris? This should be the newsletter. And I'll throw this in the library for site members. And if you do want a copy, you can just go here and sign up for the newsletter to be sent to your inbox, which I really like. I like emails in your inbox, and this gives you the link to the Broiler Chicken Show. So it's nice and efficient. But here's yet another example. I mean, this could have been Loom a couple months ago. I mean, same shit, different pile. It's just that simple, folks. Most people in the public would look at that and say, well, there's nothing going on. There's this is not investment worthy. I look at an image like that and I go, how the fuck do I get long? I got to buy it, got to get into this thing. And what's fascinating is if you actually go and look at the fundamental news, what's actually driving the story, there's some really, really cool fundamental developments coming out of this thing. I won't go into details, but this is the whole point of the newsletter is obviously there's no guarantees in any of this. But you subscribe to this newsletter, you're going to be given ideas on a regular basis for you to seriously consider. That isn't bullshit. It's not hype. I mean, you want to get rich at this game, you have to force yourself. And this is how we finished off the newsletter. What's fascinating is that the media, who since the end of the Cold War, these people have basically just turned into whores. I mean, that's really what they are. Clickbait. The 1% wants a specific thing to happen in society. So these media people get basically whored out to shill a very specific message. And honestly, folks, the sooner that we as a society acknowledge what's going on with these media outlets, the better. Maybe these people will start remembering concepts like the fourth estate or the fifth estate or whatever the hell it was. And what, like I often joke that I think I even said it here, like Walter Cronkite, he should just be like rolling over in his grave at how disgusting this society has turned into, and how these used to be. I mean, these are the people that broke the story about Watergate. Do you think in this modern day society they would break that story about Watergate? No fucking way. In fact, they'd probably be told to keep their mouths shut, and here's a big suitcase full of money, go away. I'm actually extremely disappointed in the media. And I mean, hell, in my country now, the government is actually stepping in and trying to influence what people are actually seeing, which is so sad because theoretically we were supposed to be like on the cutting edge of freedom and here in Canada. So sad. So anyway, the point, just simply put, is that at the bottom of the market, you are probably going to hear the absolute worst anecdotes through these public shills. And what you have to understand is that these people are actually acting on behalf of the 1% because they want to buy these assets. But the only way that you can buy these assets in size is if you encourage a lot of the public. And hell, they might even encourage governments. I mean, you see the way these governments have bent over for this whole woke movement nonsense. Could governments be bent over? You see that Elizabeth Warren in the US Congress. She doesn't even really, like, her arguments don't even make sense. But you can clearly see that the reason why she's acting the way that she is she's a puppet of the banking industry. So I wouldn't be surprised if the media, the politicians are completely in the back pocket of the 1%. And the sad part about it, folks, and look at, we got like 15 people watching this video, and the number of viewers are dropping by the second. The sad thing is that if you want to get rich at this game, you have to acknowledge that this is our reality. And of course, you have to build a plan to basically do the exact opposite. The only way I could have encouraged myself to come in on this loom down here is if I, happen to have been taught by somebody that you have to force yourself to come in and buy these assets when they're really low. And then when they start moving up, selling into rallies. And then when they come back down to earth, reload and just keep doing the same process over and over and over and over. And nobody in our society seems to teach that. And for some silly reason, I can't seem to get the message out to the world. I don't know why. I certainly have demonstrated this plenty. In fact, actually, even on the Twitter feed, I even put out a tweet. I mean, the whole world should be like, the worst part about it, of course, is what's going to end up happening at the top of the next cycle is, there's going to be people that are going to be like playing video games to get paid in cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, but they don't realize that they're being paid in these cryptocurrencies that have gone straight up, and then they're going to get paid and they're going to think, oh, look at me, I'm all crypto, look at me. And there's going to be like billions of them doing this. And then what they don't realize is they're going to be paid in these cryptocurrencies. Then the cycle comes to an end. They all come crashing back down to earth, and all of their time and effort was for naught. How the hell do we get this damn message out to the world? I don't get it. But anyway, here's a tweet that I put out. I don't know whether it was yesterday or this morning, but what you need to do as a market participant is you need to be able to read the writing on the walls. And that's the hardest thing, I think, for most people in the market, is to actually hear the market's message. I mean, let me just, and it's awfully convenient how they seem to, especially in this crypto space, because it's so young, is you can't see what this thing really looked like over time. But Loom's been around for as long as I've been in the crypto space. Loom has been around. But let me ask you a simple question. Would a bear market be making these kind of W's? Would a bear market, would you see a tenfold increase in the price of this asset? Does that make sense? That's the irony of this world, is, can you actually understand the message of the market? And Eddie's saying, never. And the fascinating thing about something like this is just happening just as we're coming out of the 4-year malaise and getting ready for our coming bull cycle. I mean, who knows where the hell this damn thing's going to go? And I mean, the good part about it is, we teach this stuff on the site. This isn't rocket science. We could just, since we did break out and make this big honkin' W, that means you can start drawing things like chaos theory and Feigenbaum constants and all those kind of things. Well, we'll just actually, I guess that is the lowest though there. So where the hell is this thing telling you it wants to go? Look at that. The initial objective is not even on the screen. I mean, yeah, like Eddie, Sedona. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. The good part about it is I picked such a piece of shit cryptocurrency to make my I'll dye my hair purple if this thing goes to new all-time highs. If I said that about Loom, oh shit, I better go fucking to the drugstore and get the purple dye. Because it would be like next week. But the one that I said that I dye my hair purple off of and officially changed my name to Sedona Euphoria and all that kind of stuff. It's just a piece of crap. So I don't have to worry about dyeing my hair anytime soon. But anyway, I mean, look at this thing go. So, is that the hallmark of a bull market or is that the hallmark of a bear market? And what's fascinating is the last bull market, all this thing did was this. So the fact that we've gone through the whole correction window and then have gone blasting through the highs that this thing put in last cycle means that, oh my God. I mean, do we want to come up with some crazy ass predictions? You want to hear crazy ass predictions? Look at this damn chart. Where the hell is 2.618? It's not even on the damn chart. So your initial objective here has got to be 66 cents. But when these things get going in earnest, what's super cool about this is you can see this W down here, right? Actually, here, look at even this tight little W right here, boobity boo. Notice where we stopped at 877. So that's pretty typical of, yeah, well, so Fred said it got kicked out of Coinbase. And yeah, that didn't surprise me. I mean, Loom's an interesting character. I think I did this primarily off the DeFi space. And I don't even know if that's the right term to use, but I did bang out a really nice double in here up against these old highs. And I was conjecturing about whether I was going to get another double off here. But, it's so ironic as I was bitching there earlier about, oh God, I fucking have to work 7 days a week. Today being the weekend, of course, futures markets are closed. I gave myself permission to sleep in. Notice though, this is the time when I normally wake up Monday to Friday, 5 o'clock. And look at what happened from 5, 6, 7 a.m. I slept into like 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. And of course, I missed that entire rally there. That's fucking Murphy's Law for you. Drive you crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if because of this W down here and this chaos theory, we've probably hit the end of the rally here in the short term. That seems logical to me. I think my average cost on this thing is around I think it's around 5.5, 6 cents, something like that. So I'm not really in any big hurry because, like I said, because we have broken through this high now, this thing might just do nothing for the next year or so following this move and digest all that. That's very possible. I don't know. I'm not really in the prediction game. What I would expect is this thing probably does a Wyckoff check of this previous high. And really, Feigenbaum wise, think of it as whenever we break through one of these levels, the next stop is the next Feigenbaum level. And then either the market comes back down to the previous foggy level or it goes up to the next foggy level. And if you think about that bifurcation, this would be a really cool clip if you could put this together, Chris, or at least make note of the time. So So you've probably seen this image before. I'm not on Google, so it might be, yeah. So you guys have probably seen this image, right? So what I've noticed is we come up to a level and then we either accept above the level and we go to the next level, or we reject off that level and we have to go back down to the previous one. Same thing here. So we come into a level, we either accept higher and go to the next level, or we reject and we go back down to the previous level. And so that's really what this image here is. So you come into the level, and to understand this on that sort of bifurcation, get rid of the regular chart, because think of this as growth rate, right? And this bifurcation, this is all about growth. So it looks something like that. What a coincidence. The move from 4669 to 877 is almost the same as a move from 4669 back down to 2.618. So you can sort of see that bifurcation concept. Super cool. So hey, you just got some value. And the thing is nobody on the internet teaches this. Nobody. I mean, I suppose if I keep barking about it long enough, enough people will start sort of copycatting and stuff. But I've never seen anybody teach chaos theory. In fact, I've only heard of one person, the guy who founded Interactive Brokers. He talks about chaos theory, but then the guy who was interviewing him in that video was a famous video. I think I have it on the website somewhere. Well, anyway, and he said that's the end of the interview. So it is, he asked that question. Can you explain how this works? Anyway, so obviously you can't buy the loom up here, right? It's just a question of, are you selling? Are you taking profits? Are you going and buying Lambos? And if I understand correctly, some of our community are already getting ready to relocate to El Salvador, which I was pretty damn impressed with. God damn. And I need a sign, it is, I constantly tell you guys about how my son is such a huge driver in my life. And I'm with him, good 2 or 3 days a week. I take him out 3 or 4 hours a go. I need a sign from God as to if I have permission and if Liam himself would be okay with me relocating to El Salvador. Because I tell you, I mean, what's the difference between living in commie El Salvador and some crazy ass dictator and living in hyperinflation Canada, who's got some dictator who pretends that we live in a democracy, but this is a fucking woke farce of a society that we live in, where people can't even you can't even figure out what is the ideological bent here. Are we all supposed to be fucking castrated and running around wearing skirts and using pronouns and whatever, blah blah blah? Get myself into PC trouble with these kind of statements. Anyway, I got to tell you, I'm absolutely disgusted by the direction that this society and my country has gone. I don't want to live here. The only reason why I'm living here is because my son is special needs, and his medical bill is ridiculous on an annual basis. And I'm scared shitless to take him out of the system, because once you take him out, there's no going back. So what do you say, God? I mean, do I have permission just to hop on an airplane and go live in El Salvador for a few years? Is that fair to Liam? I don't know. I mean, that's the shit that I have to deal with on a daily basis going on in here. Nothing to do with the market. I mean, the market is just so silly how this stuff works. And it's just the same shit. Year in, year out. Same shit, different pile. So, and like I said there a minute ago, you can't buy something like that right now. There's somebody buying this. Somebody, for every sell order, there's a buy order on the other side of this. So some idiot's coming in here and buying up top here. Why, I have no fucking clue. But that's the market for you. So if you can't buy that, then why are you wasting my time, Brian, talking about this? Because I'm ready to rubbing it in your face. I'm buying down here, and I'm Lamboing it. Woo, I'm here. Oh, well, crazy. But you're like, okay, well, give me a name that maybe is worth looking at. Well, there you go, folks. Simple as that. I don't know whether I could buy here on this one right now. You can see where my buddy Chris is long, the bastard. Nice fill. Look at that, right down in the reload zone. Just so absolutely textbook everything that we teach at TRI to be long down here. Nice W's, everything. Don't think I'd really want to pull the trigger here. If anything, I'm kind of hoping the way that Bitcoin's kind of looking right now and listening to how bullish everybody is in the public. If anything, I kind of like the idea of crypto maybe still a bit weaker over the next 3 or 4 months. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. I suppose when we get to the Bitcoin commentary, we'll look at it. But there are a ton of names that are all looking like this. And here's the thing, right? Is it if we went into the public? I mean, you see the letter of the alphabet, it's staring us in the face. Yet if you went out into the public and you asked the public, what do you think of this thing? First off, they're kind of like high school cafeteria kind of thinking, who's the popular kids and who's getting all the likes and stuff. Nobody sits at the lunch table with Brian. At least a couple people. 22 of you do. Not 22 million or whatever. It's crazy. Social media influencers and all that nonsense. So anyway, I mean, just like I said before, can you read the market's message? The market is speaking to us. Eddie was here a moment ago. What are we supposed to think when we see things like W's in price? Is that a bearish sign? Is that a bullish sign? And the interesting thing about this is that this really, it's so big off the daily charts, you have to zoom out to the higher time frame charts. I remember last cycle, man, every single conversation was, can you show me a weekly W, weekly W's, weekly W's, weekly W's, weekly W's? Well, what the hell is that right there, staring you in the face? They're everywhere. So, I don't know. Was that a rant that was worth paying attention to, or am I just wasting my time? It's good to see the 22 of you here are hopefully getting some. Hey, there's TBG. TBG just sent me an essay on I'm moving to El Salvador, Brian. Sucker. Oh, good. Oh, Giuseppe says full attention as always. Well, I mean, Giuseppe, can you find some money? Can you go and buy assets that look like this? And then when they start moving up like this nonsense, can you sell into those rallies? I mean, that's the whole secret that I'm trying to teach you guys. I don't know whether anybody's listening, but look at that one. I mean, damn, there it is. I even mentioned this about another one, another cryptocurrency recently. It was like CIS. I don't even know what it's done, but it's kind of the same thing that, like you just look at them and you're just like, holy crap, I can't believe this even looks like this. Yeah, this one, he tried to W up, but it looks like they puked him out because I was too enthusiastic. Some people are like, you're shilling, man. Quit shilling. And I'm like, I don't give a shit whether you buy this stuff or not. It's not no skin off my back. But I tell you, man, I'd be willing to step in on that thing right there. I mean, that's ridiculous. Look how far it's fallen. Actually get to do a new low here. And I mean, it's just name after name after name. But the problem in this space is you can't chase. You're not allowed to chase. So, like there was names like this. Remember last winter, all these, sort of artificial intelligence kind of things. We're all getting bid up to the moon. And we were encouraging people to take a real good look at this thing down in here. You can see I still have bids working down here. I can't buy that there. I have to be patient and disciplined and wait for it to come back down to here. So, this is the problem. There I remember last winter, and actually that was actually in the my birthday, right? Sell in May and walk away kind of thing. I remember through this period, right? People were like, "This is the next best thing since sliced bread." Really, I'd say I don't think so. I think this thing's, it's kind of topping out. So, there's another one, our site CTO is super excited about this thing. And I think it's maybe coming into taking some profits if you bought off the bottom. I don't know whether I would buy anything or something that looks like that. It's just too expensive. So can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference between looking at a name like this? Like if you just, that I was joking with Chris yesterday. We are now back in the world where if I say, do you want to buy some shit coins? Doesn't have to be with Bitcoin. Do you have any idea who I'm talking about? Because that's basically the type of environment that we're back in now. You got to somehow slow down on names like this. And when names look like this, I think you got to be interested. Yeah, Brian's crazy perspective. But I mean, there's so many of them. Look at that guy. And this is right around the time of the year, right? Because it's buy when it snows. So, I mean, maybe you don't go in full bore here. Maybe you buy a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. But basically, buying when it snows. And then, you get your crazy ass rallies into the end of the summer. Look at this one here. This one took off and it went all the way up into the middle of February. So if you had the kahunas to step in through the end of the year, well, you got paid pretty well there. But I mean, look how far these things have to go. If you actually zoom out and look at the entire range, as I said before, I mean, this is why I really like playing this venture cap space. This thing's got a world of room to run. If any of you watch that weekly show I do now with the Coinigy people, where are these guys sleeping right now? There's a whole bunch of them up here. Where are those guys sleeping? In the moon couch. That's a good one. I mean, look at the size of that wick. That's what she said. All right. And look, there's a whole bunch of them here too. I think they're the whole way along here. There's tons of them. And the irony of it all is that 9 times out of 10, these people will be released. When the market does rally up into these levels, they'll be quick to get the hell out of there. I mean, look at this. So some clown got suckered into buying here, and the market eventually worked its way up into these levels and released that guy. And then there's a whole bunch more new ones put in right here. You can see the market worked its way back up. Oh, these guys got released. Well, but then they created a whole bunch of new ones. So as it stands right now, probably, oh, wow, look at the size of this one. So there's a ton of trap bulls in this candle way up here. See, this is what they're probably doing to Loom right now, is they're probably creating a whole bunch of trap bulls, poor old bulls. They're going to be trapped up there for quite a while. That's why you just can't buy that. Cannot touch that when that happens. You just got to leave it alone. Anyway, this is this LTO. Look at that. Then I always tell you guys, candle body highs for trade location. Hey, look at that as a trade location to sell right into that level there. Wow. Holy moly. So these guys still trapped all the way up top there. A few of them got released there. Look at that. Huge trap bulls all up in there. So Jesus, trap bulls here. God, there's tons of trap bulls. So if this thing ever gets any kind of story, oh my goodness, there is going to be tons of liquidity. And actually, what's super cool about this is now you can do things like draw trend lines, and you'll know when this thing is a new bull market. Let's see if you guys can answer this question. Who can answer this? All 25 of you now watching. Woohoo! You know that this market's a new bull market when what happens? And this is specifically in reference to this line right here. Hopefully, you guys have seen this enough. God, I keep mentioning it over and over and over. That line right there. And this one too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tags. Oh my goodness. Excellent, Giuseppe. Is that our Giuseppe from where the hell do you live? I don't know whether that's that Giuseppe. Juju. Is that Juju? Where does Juju live? Chris knows. I think Chris was saying, is it Majorca? Ah, all right. Well, Giuseppe, I want to see you make some fucking money in crypto, man. So, and that, I mean, if you need to do a morning routine, a yoga routine, to get you focused, visualize you banging out doubles. I mean, it's your time to shine, and we need to set up your what the hell do they call that? The what's a yoga village? Good. Now, I don't want to hear you going on about, oh yeah, yoga this, yoga that. But no, I didn't actually buy any crypto. I mean, this is your fucking opportunity. If you got to get out on the streets of Mallorca and sell yoga mats or something to just get money to buy crypto, now is when you got to be in there accumulating this shit. No excuses. What do you call the did you ever find that? What's it called? It's called an ashram, right? Isn't that what it's called? Did you ever find, because Giuseppe was going to set up an ashram on Mallorca and get me to come over there and teach these yoga people how to trade. Ashmam? Is that what it's called? Ashmam? Anyway, back to our story. So a few of you got this. Actually, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6 people. Let's see. TBG got it. Nick got it. TBG was doing yoga this morning. Wouldn't it be cool to do a fucking yoga in El Salvador? Fuck, that would be right on the beach. Damn. Stone cold. Wish I could take. How can I take Liam down with me? God, I got to do something like maybe a GoFundMe page or something just for Liam. I tried doing that years ago and didn't. And actually, I got you guys to contribute 2.5 Bitcoins for Liam, and they're still sitting in a wallet. Won't touch it. TBG is doing yoga while driving on the beach in El Salvador. All right, so the magic is we know that this thing is trending higher if we actually see a W on the other side of this yellow line. So fascinating to see how we went down, up, down. We didn't break these lows. So this thing can turn back up and put in this W. That'll be on the other side of the trend line. Interesting too, how I think this is the 200 SMA. Notice how this will probably intersect if there is some sort of rally here. And, you know, the cool part about this is there was a guy that I used to work with a while ago. And actually, it's funny because he's the UBIC guy. And he was saying, oh, we need a developer cycle, a developer cycle. That was in the 17-18 bull market. And oh boy, did he ever get one. In fact, that was probably it for UBIC. I don't think UBIC has seen days even remotely similar to those days since. Well, I mean, if they can keep their act together and keep their nose clean, maybe they'll have their day in the sun, kind of like LOOM. But you know, you want to see something like that. So you want to take a screenshot. what does a buy look like? What would be really interesting about this, you can kind of see it as it's happening here, is there it is. Right, you can see how I think this is a 200 SMA, right? It's probably going to act as resistance. And then once we break above it, then all these moving averages will be support, and away we go. Kind of like what happened here. See how we ran up, then break, and then break above it, and then you got your bull run. No, who knows how long this shit's gonna last. So I guess just the point is, when I go back to the newsletter here, is it doesn't surprise me that the public is going to be spoon-fed crypto is over. Crypto is garbage. Crypto is a scam. Crypto is all about fraud. Crypto negative this, crypto negative that. And what I would suggest you really do is try and concentrate, especially a name like this, BNT. It doesn't surprise me that this actually looks like this, because if I understand correctly, there is a lot of bullish fundamental developments going on here. And then, I don't think you could call it a shill, but the one of our site members is super bullish about this FXS. And it's basically the same kind of conversation. I mean, this chart's not going to look like this. And especially, does this W fire here? These charts aren't going to look like this at the top of the market. They're going to look like this at the bottom of the market. Andrew just said, just got double on STRAX. Is that what that is? There's a little heart right over top of that. Hey, Chris, did we ever get this monetization thing fixed on YouTube? Such a shame. Almost feels like it's a conspiracy against us there, eh? Terrible. We should just start from scratch, because I would imagine a bunch of you would probably be. I know Eddie, he likes to throw us a couple bones when we do these broadcasts and we give them a half decent name. Some of the Romanians, they like to tip us in RONs. Anyway, so way to go, Andrew. In fact, actually good for you. I guess, are you still in the United States? If you are, what are you doing on Trex? Test. But STRAX. And it wouldn't surprise me if, where is it? Trex, there you go there. Wouldn't surprise me now. Oh boy, look at that, eh? Yeah, so this wouldn't surprise me at all that now that Bill has basically relocated himself offshore and he can probably get his whole shill machine back up and running again. It wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of those old Trex names that were basically just dead. And the boys ended up just liquidating all of them at the bottom, which was just pathetic, but no. It wouldn't surprise me if all of these names now start coming back to life here. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Isn't capitalism wonderful? Remember, everybody, and write this down if you don't know this. The job of the market and BitterX Bill, the job of these people is to take away from you as much money, as much of the time, as much as possible. You have to understand that, folks. That is, how do you say this? We all love capitalism when it works in our favor, but we have to understand that to actually make capitalism work in our favor, it's very hard work. It takes having patience and discipline and forcing yourself to come in at the bottom end of ranges and buy. And, people in the public laugh at you. You're doing what? You're shilling that name? What, are you crazy? And then, of course, when the damn thing starts moving up, you actually force yourself to pay yourself for your hard work and your effort. Congratulations, Andrew. Good job. And if anything, it wouldn't surprise me. So all of you, I don't know if there's any of you who actually were watching these videos back in 15, 16, 17, 18. That's where we primarily did most of our banging out doubles was on Trex. And then of course, keep in mind Trex was stunningly corrupt. So they kind of went into sort of hibernation. They went into hiding. Eventually just got kicked right out of North America. And all those people, if you still have bags of those kind of coins and you were able to survive all the culling and all that bullshit, well, it might be your day in the sun. So way to go. M Crypto M. I was there. All right. Well, just like Andrew, if you were able to ride this thing out, keep in mind, I mean, look how high these things went in 17, 18. So, this craziness was how I was able to do, you know, this silliness up here. So you can either get angry at a guy like BitterX Bill at the insane corruption, or you can hop on the bandwagon and make money from it. I gotta tell you, that's a pretty damn good looking chart. It's just yet another example. How many people do you think in the public are even the slightest bit interested in a name that looks like this? I mean, unfortunately, I can't really buy that now. And I'd just be curious. You guys have been following me all long enough. You should be able to answer this question for me. If I did want to buy this, what's the very first thing that I'm going to throw on the price chart? That's right, TBG. Right, what's the first thing? Excellent, Matador. Well said. Nice, Prince. Nice, M Crypto M. I mean, nothing changes with what I say to you guys and girls and houseplants. Cheryl, I think, is our one girl who watches my video. Almost everybody, all other women that watch my show, they end up giving up on me. I don't know why, but I wonder how Colleen's doing, eh? Colleen, if you're out there, let us know. But look how cliche this is. You can see the W, and if I change this to a line chart, you can see this even more. Look how the 786 lines up just absolutely perfectly with that double bottom level. I guess it's not quite a W, almost. So if I wanted to buy this thing, this is the area I probably want to be a buyer. Can't really touch that up there, unfortunately. But anyway, congratulations, Andrew. Good job. Well done. Hey, there's Cheryl. She's still here. Fucking A. Awesome. And what happened to our German buddy? Remember our German buddy? What was her name? I don't know what the hell happened to her. She didn't like the fact that I didn't like her calling us nerds, which I think is appropriate. I don't think it's nice to be insulting. Anyway, that's the one good part about a guy like me is I don't have any qualms. If I see you doing or saying things that don't sit well with me, damn well I'm going to say something. So anyway. So if I wanted to buy this thing, I'd probably be hunting around that 49 cents. Nice to see this thing got up above $1. So that is a clean double off of the bottoms. And the cool part about this is even if we just use the 21 bull, who was it? Andrew, right? I think Andrew, what would be the very first target that I would be using here fib wise to try and help me see where this thing ought to go? No, Andrea, she's adorable. I loved her. She's awesome. I haven't seen her on the site though. I haven't seen actually many of those guys. I think they're all gone, done other things in their lives. Nadia, that's right. Yeah. Whatever happened to her? Anyway, I suppose it's a good thing that we do have a few women that are interested in this space. But anyway, let's get back to the subject. That's good, Prince. You're heading in the right direction. There's actually even another fib, and I even call it the first stop target because I was taught by an old New York Stock Exchange trader. So always the best fib to use as sort of your, am I still a bull or am I a bear or what is the situation actually changed here? Very good, the Matador. Matador's nailing all this. Very good, Prince. So, the first stop target is the 38.2 retracement. That fib. And look at that. You might even get another double off here, Andrew, if you're lucky. So I wouldn't be in a huge hurry to abandon this thing, that's for sure. And then, of course, where are all of these people sleeping? All right. And you need to learn this. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. I suppose there's these guys, they're trapped. But I'm really thinking all of these guys, there's so many of these people all trapped up in here. Look at that one up there. Huge. They're all trapped. They're trapped. So you can definitely see when they pump this thing up into these levels, this is where the sellers are really going to come out in earnest. So the good part about it, and actually here's kind of a fun concept to use. What letter of the alphabet does this look like? And by definition, if we do see these letters of the alphabet, what does that mean? We can start drawing. So boom, 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 boom. That should be pretty simple. What letter of the alphabet does that look like? And by definition, if you see that, then what can we start measuring, studying in price? It's a W, very good, Cheryl. So by definition, if we see W's or M's, that means we can start applying what theory? Where can we start applying? Gotta wake up. Wake up, little bitty. Anyway, we can do chaos theory. Dun, dun, dun. So let's see where chaos theory. Oh, look at that, 2.618. So I don't think your rally's done here, Andrew. And actually interesting, right? Candle body highs for trade location. That's probably a level that they're going to shoot for. So there's probably a bit more to go there. And interesting, 4669 happens to align with a break of that high and that high there, but also into that 38.2. Then notice 877, sort of like the ultimate chaos theory level, is going to be right up into these wicks and they finally get released. So you'll probably see a bunch of selling come in up at that level. So that's kind of cool how that works. So nice trade there, Andrew. Looks like you're well on your way. Fred, let's see. Zonk says, Brian, do we have a confirmed M through 50 on RSI BTC monthly price? That's a good question. Longer term price chart. Actually, it's interesting how we, I don't really like to talk about it too much here on these free videos, but we do run an algo at TRI and it just spat up a buy signal here. So interesting how market is rallying off of those lows, off of a monthly price chart though. Hey, wow, that's a big chart. Let's see. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do two charts on this one and we'll do one as a monthly. Oh, you can see I was already drawing stuff on this. So there's my fun billiard ball fractal image. I love those. You don't see anybody in the market talk about them. Okay, so probably don't want to butcher that. Let's see if we can get like a replicated chart. There we go. All right, so then let's go like that. Then let's go like that. Then let's go monthly, you say? 1 month. Boof. And then let's go like that. And then let's maybe get rid of all this stuff. Boosh. All right, what do I see on the monthly price chart? And you were asking about RSI, so let's put all this stuff away. All right, there's your monthly chart, and there is RSI. So interesting divergence, monthly price chart too. Huge message here. So how do you know that your 4-year bear cycle, part of the cycle is started? When you have your monthly RSI confirm. That officially right there, especially that 3-bar monthly fractal fail there, that was your sign that the bull is done. So we had, I guess, a 50-line break, and you could argue 1M, 2M. So you could maybe say that this was your sell signal here, and this is a monthly chart, so it was kind of big. Maybe through there. So I don't know when you were expecting this or what you're measuring off of, but it looks like your monthly sell signal was there. So who asked this question? ZOKNXX. How on earth do you pronounce that? I've tried to pronounce this in the past, but I have no idea how you pronounce it. Zoknix? Zoknix? Maybe you can help me with pronunciation. But do you see the 50-line fail? And yeah, I mean, that was a monthly sell signal from there. Probably the third M is your trap. And I think that, well, maybe we're just like that. We'll just go. The third M probably came in down here, right through there, and that was a trap. So that was not a good place to be a seller. So they broke these guys. Is that a W? I don't know. I mean, it's awfully messy. It's not really very well defined at all. That high is 46.13. I think that's what that is. Yeah. And then this low is 46.14. So that's not even a lower low. That's just up. I don't even know if I would say, believe it or not, I think the first W comes in there, which is just horrible. I mean, maybe that's a W. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's this, I mean, it just doesn't look very well defined. I mean, clearly that is an M, up, down, up, fail, and it even had a W inside. This is an M, right? Up, down, up, fail, nice and clean. And even this, right? Up, down, up, and even more M's, fail, right? Puke out. I don't see any W's here. What I see is this looks like a just like a rolling top kind of thing. So I don't even think I really even get a signal here, to be honest with you. What I would like to see, if this is a new bear, is up, down, up, fail. And we break through there. So if I was watching for, M's and W's, I think that's what I would be watching for a new M. So what's that low? 48.01. And we're up at 49.18. I don't know. I almost, I don't know. That doesn't sit very well with me. If anything, what I would prefer to actually get that, Uber sell signal, what I'd actually like to see is this come up, put in an M. So there's your first M. And then, so we have the first M failure is here. And then we get another M, the second M failure there. So boom, boom, big ass sell signal, run for the hills. Tell you though, I mean, assuming that that's going to happen, well, you all know about assuming, right? Cheryl, what do you tell your son? about assuming. I don't know. I don't know why I'm picking on Cheryl. Any of you? What do you tell your kids? Right? How does that cliche go? How do you spell assume? If you're gonna assume something's gonna happen, I think that's how the word assume goes. Yeah, there you go, TBG. Well, he's driving on the beaches of El Salvador. He's got Latino hotties in both hands. The Allen machine is driving itself, and watch out for that wave. Just kidding. Hey, there's Cheryl. Right on, Cheryl. So I think it'd actually be really dangerous to assume anything here. What I see, if anything, I hate to say it, but what I see here is this kind of looks like a megaphone. So if that is the case, then what this really means is that volatility is expanding here. And you should expect wild gyrations both up and down. So I don't know, Zonks, are you here? I don't see what you're referring to. So sorry. The Matador says monthly, a bit of a meme for crypto. You're awfully late taking signals. Yeah. Okay. So I hate to say it though, I think that was a legit sell signal there. You know, the second M, and it came in through 52. So we definitely went through the 50 line there. I think that was a legitimate monthly signal. And I mean, you tell me. So, Mr. Matador, what do you think? Was that a legit failure signal there? I think so. I mean, hell, if you look at this on a log scale, right? That's a pretty big move. All right, from there all the way down to the bottom. I think that was legit. But Zonks, do you see how this looks? Very well defined Emmy. But here, I don't see either M's or W's. If anything, this makes perfect sense. What I see is a market that doesn't really know what it wants to do. What I see is I see England and I see France. How does the rest of that go? Yeah, you're right, man. But I got to say, that's a pretty good signal. You know, and this is, you know what I find fascinating, and hats off to you. I don't know whether he's going to watch this video later on or not, but I kind of poked fun at a guy that actually, you know, I mean, fuck, he's a Bitcoin billionaire. So, I mean, who's Brian to poke fun at? But there was a guy on the, well, you all know him, Da Vinci, who got sort of messed up with this German sort of promoter guy and kind of forgot about all the classic TA stuff that we taught him at the TRI program. And he kind of got sucked into the bull case here, which was really, really dangerous, and telling people, don't worry. I mean, when you look at that RSI message, that in itself is like, whoa, slow down. Something's not right here. But, and I don't know whether it's like I constantly make reference. We still have one of Dav's technical setups that I think actually is very, very good. The Davos, we call it. In fact, actually, I think even if you come on the 30-day subscription on the site, we have like free screeners. And since it's not my screener, it's Dav's. I don't want, you know, I'm not going to take credit for it. So, you know, it's under the heading of free screeners here. But on the free screeners, like we have Dav's technical, and you know, he worked really, really hard to get to learn this setup, and he really liked using it. So you can see we have the Davos here on the, and I'm not quite sure how this page works. I've been very frustrated with all this. You should not see things like key reversals on this free signals page. But I don't know, Stuart, if you're watching this, why is this still here? It's so frustrating. Anyway, there is Dav's setup. So, and I have to say, you know, I think it works really, really well. I think these are bullish ones. So, I mean, it's just a question of do they fit into your plan and can you trade them? I mean, look at, wow, look at that one. Hoo-wee. So, just is what it is, a trader's life. So, where am I going with all this? I was actually pretty impressed. Somebody the other day, and since nobody uses their real name in internet land, I suppose I can use his screen name. His name is Chosen One. There you go. Anyway, he said the other day, and he even says, "My name is Chosen One." Go figure. Anyway, he said, "I want to learn how to trade, and I was sent here by Da Vinci." So go figure. Thank you, Dab. Still appreciate the referrals. And remember, you should be able to get a referral credit if you refer somebody to the education program. I mean, not that a couple bucks makes a difference to a guy like Dav, but anyway. So the karmic wheel keeps going round. I was pretty impressed by that person coming and actually saying, but my response to him was, and since you don't know who this real person is, and this is the same response that I tell everybody, right? He said, I was sent here by Da Vinci, and I said, great, well, sit back, get comfortable, and start learning. No excuses. There is no easy way about this. And I even said, you better expect here to be here at least for a full year. Because I always tell people that you do not know this job of quote unquote a trader unless you've actually been here for a full year. And you are here every day. You watch how the market moves seasonally. You watch how we don't chase. You watch how location is so critical for us. And then indicator confirmation, then price structure. I mean, you have to be here for at least a full year. And I learned that, 30 plus years ago. You do not know a job until you've done it for at least a full year. And I would even say that our education program, the way that we structured it, is about a year long, especially now with Zach's level 4 program with the option spreads. So that means that what I really want you to do is complete the education program. And then now you know what to do. Now, there's a big difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. So then I think it takes another year or so to actually implement plans and to actually get to the point where you have a full business up and running and you're just rocking and rolling. So the most important thing, if anybody's sort of tuning into this channel for the first time, is this is not a get rich quick scheme. It just isn't. We're here to teach you a profession. We're here to teach you how the capitalist machine works. And it works on about a 4-year cycle. And I would strongly suggest that you all write that down. And really, actually, not a bad idea to start with a monthly price chart. And the cool part about it is you can actually see exactly where the last cycle ended. So now we need probably a good couple years to wash the market out. And then a couple years of bull market. Then that'll be 4 years later. And another top will come in. And the interesting thing is we probably could go back and look at the previous cycle, right? So this is stamped. So we have all this. And sure enough, do you notice, isn't this kind of coincidental, folks? Can anybody see this? 21, 17, 18, right in there. And interestingly enough, your second M, this wasn't really a very pretty one, but I definitely think, look at that. That was through the 50 line. Actually, no, I beg your pardon. That one's through. So ironically enough, there's your first M there, but your second M didn't come in till there on the monthly. And that was the breakdown there. We had to majorly face rip down and rallied back up, consolidated, and we finally broke out at basically about the same level way over here. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is hopefully you can see how these 4-year cycles keep operating. So there. somewhere around there. Somewhere over here. Look at that, how well defined that M was. Good boy. And I suppose your breakdown was through the 50 line. Yep, it's kind of like through here. And that makes sense. When that M came in, that was the end of that bull run. And you had to wait for the market to bottom out. And ironically enough, your buy signal actually almost comes in at exactly the same price as your sell signal. So it becomes like a zero-sum game through that. But hopefully you can see 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, and how and actually, I watched Tyler, our old buddy at Crypto Chico. He did a video recently. I don't know whether I necessarily agree with these guys' price predictions. I've told you countless times, I really don't think it's in your best interest to get into the prediction game. But this guy right here. In fact, I thought it was funny. Bitcoin literally, this video Tyler put out, Chico Crypto guy. And this guy here, Adam Beck, he actually came out with a prediction that Bitcoin was going to hit $100,000 by the, I don't know whether it was by the end of the year or into the next halving. I think he even said by the end of the year, this guy here. And literally the day that they came out with their prediction, I guess this was Plan B. I'm not quite sure who that guy is. Anyway, these guys are all making their predictions. I don't really like to get into the prediction game. I think that's asking a lot, getting yourself in trouble. Of course, this is exactly what the public wants, right? They want you to make a prediction, and then they want you, obviously, the prediction to come true, and then you're like some fucking guru or something, and you walk on water, blah, 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 a million subscribers, likes, hits, blah, blah, blah. But I've told you countless times in the public that that's not the way the capitalist machine works, and that's not the way professional traders approach the market. But as soon as I say that, number of dislikes goes up, number of likes goes down, number of viewers go down, and we can't sell anything. So go figure. The one good thing about the Beamish, though, is that I will not change my approach with all of you. Hopefully the message, the wording that I use is exactly the same. You should be able to pull up a video that I did 5 years ago, and it should literally be identical to what you're hearing today. Nothing changes. So anyway, so this guy comes out with a big $100,000 price prediction, whatever. And I thought it was hilarious because quite literally the day that he did that, this thing goes and M's out. And that's a big sell signal. And so ironically enough, my objective for Bitcoin right now in the short term is a test of 25,000 again. So I thought that was kind of funny. That like literally the day that this video was put out, right? This was put out 4 days ago. All these bullish price predictions and everything. What does the market go and do? The market goes and M's out and flashes a sell signal. I thought that was great. And it's so perfect because that's exactly what the market always does. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so if you want, and I think I tweeted it out. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But kind of like, I know I definitely put this in the lounge, and I'll put it in the lounge again. But I definitely like, you can definitely hear from this sort of OGs, the bear market is getting pretty long in the tooth. Tyler did come out with some interesting sort of historical comparisons. Where are we relative to the number of days until the halvening, and what does price usually do? I sort of did a study up on all of this, and frankly speaking, I don't know. I still think that there's one more sort of dip against these lows, especially with regard to things like the cost of production and stuff like that. We're still awfully high. And keep in mind, the Fed still technically is at war with the market right now. And we got this idiot, basically casting a shadow over the entire crypto space. My hunch is that whatever your bottom is, it actually comes around this guy's eventual conviction. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. All right, back to the newsletter. So I'm curious. Like I said, when I showed you on Twitter that all the major news outlets, they are just uber bearish of crypto and Bitcoin and stuff right now. But I'd actually make the argument that there's a lot of positives going on, and this is the time of the cycle when you should be interested in this. You should be hunting these narrow sideways channels. You should be investing. I'm not going to tell you what to buy or what price to pay. That's entirely up to you, right? And your plan. I tell you, I was shilled on this BNT. I liked what I heard. I want to get long, but that doesn't mean I give a rat's ass whether you get long or not. I just don't care. And I will say that repeatedly. I have no vested interest in anything that you buy or sell. I have a very big vested interest in trying to ramp up my portfolio as much as I can so I can do things like relocate my son out of this godforsaken country until it gets back to a buy. And actually, this is an interesting history lesson, especially for all the level oneers. I have taught you guys repeatedly over the years, what does a commodity cycle look like? What does an anti-commodity cycle look like? And who does well in commodity cycles and who does poorly? And I can tell you absolutely unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, we just went through a major commodity cycle. It's fascinating how the way that the 1% fucks us over, we can't get data. I mean, was the Canadian dollar not around before the turn of the century? I mean, what kind of fucking farce is that? So if they gave you the data so you could study this over time, you would clearly see these cycles. But no, not allowed to do that. That would fuck up the 1%'s plan of fucking us over. Anyway, so the point here is, unfortunately, Fidel fucking Trudeau, commie, whatever the fuck you want to call it. In actual fact, he's even now trying to censor media. If I understand correctly, I might even get a knock on my door. The censor police are here. You made fun of Mr. Trudeau, so you're going to prison. Oh, great. Anyway, when's that next flight to El Salvador? And the irony of it all is that's probably just jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. Can you imagine if this dictator down in El Salvador did something that I didn't like and I actually said something on YouTube, maybe slightly inflammatory to the dictator of El Salvador? Ooh, that wouldn't go over very well. So careful what you wish for. You might just get it good and hard. Anyway, point of the matter here is the Canadian dollar, I think, is in big trouble. And everybody who's taking the education program, you should know exactly when I expect Canada to be a buy again. And hint, 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 it's not even in this decade, which is scary. And all you level oneers who are watching the video, right? Our next cycle turns 2017, 2018. 2035. So all the way over here. That's when our cycle turns. So really, I have no business being in Canada until we actually get over here. I have no business buying a house here. You know what I found interesting, and I was quite actually pleased by this, is if like a few years ago, used to drive from California up to BC here. And I absolutely love this one part of Northern California, Southern Oregon, called, and actually it will just go, called Grants Pass. And for the longest time, real estate was pretty expensive. You couldn't really find anything. But what I'm noticing now is prices are starting to come back down to earth. I mean, obviously, if you want a finished fucking hacienda, I mean, I would be more like the type of guy that I just want to get land. In fact, actually, so here we go, 130,000 for 15 acres. That's not bad. Yeah, it's a bit light for only 3 acres. Hey, 200 grand, 11 acres. It's not bad. 5 acres, 137,000. 11 acres, 180,000. Again, I like that Grants Pass area, so I'm super interested in that. 15 acres, that's pretty good. 14 acres, 150 grand. You can set up a pretty nice homestead on that. 30 acres, 140. Actually, this one's super cool. I was looking at this one yesterday because it's already got two pads ready to actually build, and you could even do homesteads right on them. And talk about living out in the wilderness, eh? So I was super excited about that. And that's not a bad price tag. You go into BC, and keep in mind, BC is like 1,000 miles to the north. You have to deal with absolutely horrendous weather in the BC interior. It goes down to like -20, -30 degrees, no problem. Grants Pass doesn't really get that cold in the wintertime. But if you go like land for sale in British Columbia right now, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, the prices here. 64 acres, I don't know, better part of 500,000. But Merritt, that's pretty far north. Look at this, a third of an acre, $500,000. A third of an acre, $600,000. Half an acre, $600,000. I mean, it's not even comparable. I mean, I suppose there's this guy here. And keep in mind that, yeah, the wintertime in interior BC, oh my goodness, is it cold. So what's my point here? My point is that if you actually just even go and look at the cost of assets right now, it's stupidity coming and spending money here in Canada. It's just absolute stupidity. And I got to say that Grants Pass, some of that land's looking really, really interesting. Anyway, that's Brian going off on a tangent. Sorry about that. I think I heard Chris say that we're coming up on time. You got to get going for Liam today. So I don't know whether you guys got any value out of all that rant here today. We did just have a major eclipse, and we're now actually in an eclipse season. If anything, what I would strongly suggest you do is, I think actually Chris even created a clip for YouTube. Did I put it here? Yeah, so he created a clip. There's the one thing I absolutely love about TRI is that our community, actually, look at that, we got quite a few views of this. So our community, every Friday, we like to sort of mine our community for stuff that people are interested in, and they come and make presentations. Maybe we get TBG to come in here and do a presentation on buying real estate in El Salvador. Anyway, so the point being that we are in a very sensitive part of the calendar here. And it's interesting how a lot of people don't really talk too much about celestial events in our society. I had one person recently say that actually one of the reasons why I do like hanging out with you guys here at TRI is because you do actually respect this stuff. So I actually think that a lot of the volatility, especially things like crude oil, what you see, and actually it's interesting. I read one comment about the fact that this eclipse is happening with Chiron as a backdrop, and I'm sure I butchered the name of that sort of minor planet, means that this is a revisiting of old wounds. And how ironic, look what's happening there in Israel and the Palestinians and all that. If that isn't a revisiting of old wounds, I don't know what is. This is the crude oil market, and you can see the insane volatility. What's scary about this image and why, you might think that there could be a fairly substantial correction in the market is, of course, that's a big fat W, and we've all done bombs off of those altcoins with you earlier on in the broadcast, and you can see where 2.618 is. It's basically we're going to go right back up and test that old high. And if we do blast through there, what are we talking about? 4.669 is up around 105. And then if all hell breaks loose, 877's all the way up there at $125 a barrel. So that would definitely throw a chink in the armor. What is it? Is that the right term? I don't know. Kink in the armor? Anyway. That a wrench in the works that would definitely be problematic, but it does definitely look like, with the fact that this W confirmed, I would say there's a very high probability that we have to go up to this 2.618, which is up against those highs. Oh boy, that's not going to be fun. So with that said, it doesn't surprise me that when we look at things like, where did I do this? Oh yeah, that's right. Remember I did all this. It doesn't surprise me. And of course, this is what's so funny, right? About Chico and all of their bullish predictions is, I don't know how the hell they make a bullish prediction in the face of this. I mean, we've got now all three moving averages are back above us now. And you can see how last week we rallied right into those moving averages, right into that trend line, and we just got stopped in our tracks there. Now, the one good part about what I see here is you can see this defined down trend line. You can see that we came down, we basically kissed the trend line, and we started to work our way off of that. What this tells me, and this is just my experience in the market, first and foremost, this is a 3-bar fractal. So that means if we finish this week, and let's say we finish here, who knows where the hell today they take us out? Maybe they rally it back up top. I don't know. But if we go through this low next week, that's an empire top. That's a big sell signal. I don't think we will. I think what they're going to do is they're going to play with this trend line over the coming weeks. And I think it's going to be like a bob and weave, bob and weave. I don't think we just puke out here. And at the same time, too, this doji top right up top here, that is clearly, and it's interesting how that doji top also corresponds really nicely with that market structure fail level. This is what they call a Wyckoff check. Again, I think that's a beautiful resistance level up top there. And I find it very hard to believe, especially with the way this trend line's acting, that in the near term, we come anywhere near there. You heard me talking earlier about trap bulls and trap bears and wicks. I absolutely guarantee you there is a bunch of trap bulls in that wick that probably listen to these guys and Mr. $100,000 prediction. This thing's going straight to the moon. And they went, fuck it, man. I don't want to miss out on 100,000. So I'm going and I'm buying up here. And of course, they're now trapped. So the weekly chart, that does not look bullish to me at all. If anything, unfortunately, and the way, if we actually look at the if we like zoom in on this price action, this doji in itself is a trading range. Top of the range, bottom of the range. And if you look at the daily chart, did I do that right? This should be the daily chart. That's kind of odd. Oh, no, that's right. No, I didn't do that right. Because all this was extra stuff, right? So here, let's put that back. All right. Then we go down to the daily chart. My fun little paper trading account. Now, how do I get the daily chart? There we go. Yeah, I figured it out. All right. There's your daily chart. And so that doji that we saw over that last week, there is a big fat M. And again, this is more of, I listen to the market's message. I don't have an opinion because I know my opinion is worthless. And the message of the market, whenever you see M's or W's, that's the market trying to speak to you. I mean, you saw those messages on the market about LOOM and those kind of names. Well, I mean, that's an M. I mean, any way you shake it, that is an M. Up, down, up, fail. When I was doing the write-up a week or two ago, what I was just simply saying is this looks like this is the top end of the trading range. There's that 200 period moving average that stopped us like a train wreck. And I just simply said that it looked like we had a trading range. Top of the range, 28.5. Bottom end of the range was these lows, 27.10, 10.27.100. And you can see we lost the bottom end of the range. Interesting how now the 30 SMA and the 13 EMA are now resistance right at the M structure fail level. This, and actually, in fact, you can even see the triangle here. This triangle here now, I think, is an absolute brick wall of resistance. So, the Wyckoff check, right? Because this is a Wyckoff check. If we come down and test somewhere in there, right? If we come up, rally up and test this breakdown, that's what they call a Wyckoff check. So that's why I've written on there Wyckoff. We have the 30 SMA, which it's up against right now. We have the 13 EMA right here. We have this uptrend line, and this is a good example where once was support often becomes resistance in the future. So that's what I think is going to happen here, is that this line now is resistance going forward. And then we have, remember I showed you, this is now the market structure downtrend line of just this M itself. This is a valid working trend line now, which of course nobody wants to hear. So I can't get that thing to cooperate. Anyway, I think you get the idea. I think this is a major, this is like a vortex of death. And the thing is that this thing's going to pop into this level. Everybody's going to get bullish, but this rally is going to be right in the face of a big fat M top. And really, you can't get bullish of this thing until we actually, remember I talked about this earlier with you guys, until we actually break through this downtrend line and then go in and put in a W on the other side of this downtrend line. So at the very best, can you see how maybe this turns into like a big inverted head and shoulders? Point here is that this is not a bull market. This is a market that confirmed an M top. It is working its way lower, but I think what's happening here is we're still stuck in a massive trading range. Because, you've got, Gensler on one side of the equation and the FTX nonsense. And what's hilarious is Gensler might even lose his career as a public servant, whatever, because he's going to be dragged down in this FTX debacle, which is hilarious. So that's one side of the equation. Then you got the other side of the equation where these ETF people are trying to float a Bitcoin ETF. And of course, they don't want the price of Bitcoin to collapse while they're trying to shill the whole Bitcoin story. So what ends up happening is you notice higher highs, lower lows. That's, I hate to say it, friends, a megaphone. This is an ugly, ugly chart pattern. And notice, look at this key high here, and this key high here, and this high here, and this high here. And now these lows here. This is in essence the midpoint of the megaphone. And I think that's what we're going through right now. Is, quite often you get a pullback into the midpoint of the megaphone. You do a little bit of a dance. We could very easily, if we rally back up top here and you get a third tag of this megaphone top, that becomes just an absolutely monstrous sell signal. We could conversely do the exact opposite and come all the way down to the bottom. Notice A, B, C, D. So we puke out, come all the way down to the bottom, and that actually becomes a 1, 2, 3 tag of the megaphone bottom, and that becomes a huge buy signal. And frankly speaking, if I was, well, yeah, this is what I would prefer to see. We don't want to see this. If we see something along these lines, that could become like cyclical. We might have to go through 6 months of shit ahead of us if that happens. So in a weird sort of way, I actually like the idea that we M out here, we work our way down. You know, if we can hold these lows and we can start turning back up, then maybe we can start talking about inverted head and shoulders again. But what I do like is let's get price back down here, hit 2.618s, candle body lows or trade location, big fat round numbers, and then give me a nice big fat bullish divergence, and then a nice W in price. Remember, we've got one more lunar eclipse coming up here. This is this eclipse season that you'll hear Cole talking about in the video. This is going to be a really wild few weeks. And what I'm worried about, you know, if the crude oil takes off up top, then I could very easily see something that is hypersensitive to energy prices, like a Bitcoin, it puke out. I could very easily see things like in the stock market. Obviously, the NASDAQ and tech stocks, if they see that crude oil is about to go absolutely crazy, well, guess what? They're probably going to start selling off. And if I'm not mistaken, just to see if I can show you really quickly, I got 10 minutes left here. Actually, I don't know what chart that was. It was supposed to be this chart. No, I think I just butchered that. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, so if we are actually working our way down here, then what we should see is bearish price action on a lot of the tech stocks. So do we see that? Oh, look at the QQQs. That's a pretty nasty reversal up top there. Oh, look at the S&P 500. Actually put in a double top breakdown there. Amazon, looks like we got a 3-bar fractal potentially firing there. Google, looks like a 3-bar fractal there. You guys see a bit of a reoccurring theme here? And actually, it was interesting. Somebody the other day on the site sort of asked, you know, do you think that tech and Bitcoin are still correlated? And somebody answered, I can't remember who it was, and they said, nope, not correlated at all. And I would kindly disagree with that. I think they're still extremely correlated. Not obviously penny for penny, but I think there's a lot of correlation. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So 3-bar potential fractal there, 3-bar fractal there. NVIDIA semiconductors, huge rally. And we conjectured about whether NVIDIA was going to put in this kind of head and shoulders top. Well, I'll tell you, if crude oil goes up to $150, $200 a barrel, these semiconductors are going to come off in a hurry. So, you know, 3-bar fractal there. So you can see how they're setting the top up here. Now, you know, let's see how they act out of the gate tomorrow morning when Wall Street opens up. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that these tech stocks do not look happy. And it would make sense if the one thing that you see bottoming on the screen here, there's your crude oil. It's got a big fat W, and the market's gapping violently higher on the ETFs. So it would make sense that the stock market's not happy. As well, you know, we should probably go and look at things like, and interesting enough, if Canada was what Canada always has been historically, then actually this should be bullish for the Canadian dollar. But stupid idiot substitute drama teachers are trying to like literally make Canada no longer an oil nation. So, you know, I don't know. Hey, you might have crude oil rally, but the market looks at Canada and says, well, you know, your stupid politicians have shut all the oil in. So you're not going to make any money out of this. So, you know, we're not going to rally Canada. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Anyway, look how the commodities are just flying here. They are just going crazy apeshit strong here. So you can see how the stocks, they are not overly happy with that at all. And probably that's a function of the bond market. But what I wanted to show you before I leave you is we want to keep an eye on this. So if you want to see a bottom in the market, what you really want to see is you want to see a bottom in this yellow line. This is the Dow transports. Now, you tell me, folks, we don't need to bullshit. Let's just be completely honest here. Do you see a bottom in these transports? We're going to do this. Actually, maybe I can just go. Thought there was a little hide button that you could just hide this. I don't see it. You used to be able to just go hide. Where is it? There it is. Hide there. All right. Do you see a W in these transports? Have these things actually bottomed yet? Uh-oh. Has that bottomed? Doesn't look like it. Looks like they tried. And I think a lot of people were kind of like, hey, that looks like a top in energy stocks, including Brian. There is a wicked top in a lot of energy stocks, but then they instantly reversed. I think this has a lot to do with the eclipse cycle, and I don't think it really is reflecting fundamentals. And our comment in the newsletter is that right now, through all this eclipse season, and actually, to sort of fill the rag, we talked a little bit about things like University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index is very low. But again, I think that has more to do with the eclipse, and how humans just feel really, really wonky through these events. And I think that this has more to do with the eclipse season than it has to do with actual fundamentals. And what you might find is that we get on the other side of November, on the other side of the big FOMC meeting that's coming up here. Notice the lunar eclipse is at the end of the month. And then instantly, right after that, that's when we have a FOMC meeting. Oh, what a convenient coincidence. You might find if we're really lucky, we get like a dump into the eclipses. Humans are freaking out. You start hearing idiots in the market going, I will save my life, or I will sacrifice my life to save capitalism. Then we get on the other side of this. The Fed says, all right, maybe we're going to raise once more, and then we're done. And the whole market just goes absolutely apeshit bullish here. That would not surprise me one bit as well either. But until we actually get through this window, my message for all of you is don't get into the business of predicting what's going to happen here. This is a megaphone, which means that it's highly, highly volatile both ways. And right now, the bears are actually driving the bus. And considering the way the oil market is acting, that doesn't surprise me, because oil and tech stocks usually move in opposites. And I can see a lot of these tech stocks do not look happy at all. So, all right. Is there anything else on this newsletter that I should maybe mention? Also, too, I think it's a good idea. Be careful when you get opposing signals out of the breadth indicators. We had one gentleman, and I always make reference to him, that sort of said that if the S&P is pointing down, even if I get a bullish reading on crypto, I'm going to just take it really, really slow. And I don't really have a problem with you trading the algo, but I think you probably should be trading it off of things like the 4-hour chart. So here you can see these are our recent buy and sell signals on the algo. And they seem to produce half decent signals, and they're you can make money with them. But I think you got to be operating like a swing trader off of like a 4-hour chart. So we did have the algo flip back bullish here, like I said. And this is in the context of an M that's working. I do like the idea. Remember, I showed you the triangle on the daily chart. So I do like the idea that the market could enjoy a bit of a counter trend rally back up into this triangle of death here. And if there was going to be an algo generated bull move, I think that's it. I think it's happening as we speak. But once we get into this resistance window, I think all bets are off at that point. And frankly speaking, if you're a trader, then what you're really probably hoping for, keep in mind, this is a validated market structure top. It's in there. So what you're probably hoping for is, can I get a rally into a reload zone and actually see if I can join that short trade? So that would imply that we could rally all the way up into that level there. So, and you can see the W's. I wouldn't fault anybody. You can see that it's awfully tough to see. But anyway, this is a reload zone. This is probably like 50% of this entire range. This is probably a reload zone just off of this range right down in here. And you can see the W's. So it doesn't surprise me that we're getting a bullish cross there on the crypto algo top 30. But the way that I would interpret this is, once we rally back up into the top of value, back up into trendline resistance, back up into reload zones, probably even there's a gap or two up top here that probably could be filled in. Once we get up into this area, then it's sort of like, oh boy, okay, be careful, watch for the reversal and move back down. Also, too, to sort of finish off this kind of thought, remember on the higher time frame chart, I showed you I got a bunch of reasons to look for the market to come back down into this level down here. Big fat round number, 1.618 alts, 38.2 to 50% of the entire range. Mr. Finks, right? I want a Bitcoin ETF, candle body lows. For trade location, Foggenbaum, 2.618. I got a lot of reasons to look for the market to come back down into this area. So if we look at the lower time frame chart, does it make sense to look for that kind of stab down below? There's that big fat round number, 78.6 off of the entire range, right? Top down to bottom. There is 78.6, Brian's favorite fib. That would be below value. That would fill in this notch on the profile. And then also, too, if we did get that counter trend rally, which is happening now, and then we rolled over, bear AB equals CD, notice that would take us down into that level as well. So I guess what I'm saying here is, between now and next weekend, I'm kind of thinking up, then down, and then big question mark, what do we do at that point there? All right, so that's about it for Bitcoin. It is top of the hour, so I probably should get out of here. I didn't really see too many questions on the Q&A document, but honestly, I didn't really look too hard. So I tell you what, is I'll circle back around Monday after party show. We often do this, where if I didn't get time to actually look at questions and also the daily brief for Quest Room, I'll spend the Monday after party show looking at like algo signals and looking at your questions. Looks like there's only one. All right, if you got a minute, could you have a quick look at ENVX? They're producing some new tech for long life batteries. Been left bag holding from $15, DCA more at 10. Looking for some reassurance, give me some hope. All right. I suppose we can take a couple minutes and just quickly look at this, and then I got to get out of here. So where should we do this? Yeah, I tell you, nice job there, Andrew. Good job on you. So let's go here. Right, so weekly charts. Okay, I mean, there is a bit of a W here, but you can see they went and smashed that W, and that was probably a liquidity hunt. Keep in mind that a lot of these little junior stocks, these liquidity hunt guys, they're like literally professionals at this. We do the model, and keep in mind this is a weekly price chart. Momentum. Volume momentum clearly pointing down, so not a lot of buyers here in the short term. Woo, price momentum, huge bearish MACD divergence pointing down. RSI's pointing down. Willie never did get stupid, but you can definitely see we rolled over and we are pointing down. So there's no, if anything, this is a perfect example of that eclipse market kind of thinking, where into that month end, into that eclipse at the end of the month, they're probably next couple of weeks, these are going to print more negative here. There's no reason to think that there's any up here at all. So the question ultimately is, if you have money in it, well, I don't know where your risk threshold is. Are you little old ladying it? Are you leverage trading this? Where did you leverage long at? 26.30 was the high there, 26.17. So 26.30 is where we draw our trend line. So 1, 2, 3 probably there. Break. Give me a W on the other side of the trend line, please. No W yet. So really good example. Can I please have a W? So I don't see any W's here. And if anything, really good example, if you say this is a tech stock, then if oil's about to go crazy, then it probably means the tech people are going to cool their jets. Again, I like the idea that this is setting up a buying opportunity into probably early November. So we had drawn here weekly candle body lows. That's what that dotted line was. You can see where the original double bottom came in on price on this thing. So over the next couple of weeks, if we could just bang around here a bit, some back and forth, and then set up some sort of bottom here coming out of the other side of November. I like that thinking. That makes sense to me. Right here in the short term, lower highs and lower lows, nothing to do here. There's no buy signals anywhere in sight. We are in trade location, so that's okay. Now what we have to do is we have to see indicator confirmation, nothing out of volume, nothing really out of MACD. This did make a lower low, so that's not good. Nothing out of RSI, that also made a lower low there. So nothing to get excited about there. We can say that Willie is stupidly oversold. So you're way too late to be a seller. We are in good trade location. My advice, if I was going to give anything to you, is let this bottom see if it can develop. And my hunch is that if some sort of bottom like this comes in, then on this event that, we actually go and W out, my hunch is these moving averages will actually start crossing bullishly through there and you're ready to rock and roll. So I suppose the final thing would just be to look at some fundamentals and see if, there's any tells fundamentally. Do they have a gazillion shares out? If they do, they probably need to roll them back. But technically speaking, we'll leave the conversation at that. Ooh, look at that. You see how 4669 is nothing more than them just doing a liquidity sweep, just like they did here. Look at this beautiful bottom, right? This was so absolutely perfectly set up. This is what they call an Adam and an Eve, right? So Adam straight down, and then your Eve, nice little double bottom, buy signal, big rally. If anything, this is what you kind of need to see for us to really see a bottom here. And my hunch is it probably is going to take that kind of time period. Maybe this looks something like that, there to there and there to there, right? So you get your Adam, which is a dump down into that 4669, boom, like that, and then your Eve over here on the other side of the trend line, and away you go. So that's about the best scenario that I can paint for you is, can we please get something that looks something like that? So I'll just throw that in the document and say, this is what I see. Fingers crossed, a bottom comes in through the buy when it snows window. And you tell me, is it snowing yet? I don't know whether it's snowing yet or not. Don't think it is. So if anything, it makes perfect sense that we want to see that bottom form as we get closer and closer to that seasonal bottom. So there's my answer for you. Okay, we talked newsletter. I think I talked about everything on here. Talked about opportunities in the crypto space. I actually started off the video with the altcoins. Did a nice little review of the analysis of what I'm seeing out of Bitcoin and price action, which is ironic because everybody and their brother is all bullish and yet I'm bearish. Go figure. Talked a little bit about algo signals. Of course, don't really like to talk too much about that because it's proprietary and I would like to encourage you to subscribe. We do have a room on the website for people who have actually subscribed to the dashboard that I talk to them on a daily basis, the Pro Signals room. And you can see every day I'm right in here. Look at that. We got a crypto buy signal right on the eclipse, blah, 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 blah. So those people that have subscribed to the dashboard, I'm posting stuff in the pro room all day long. So anyway. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you for the best wishes and good karmic wishes for Liam this afternoon. So thank you very much, Andrew. Appreciate that. Thank you, Adam. And if everybody could just take a moment, your payment, if I gave you any value out of today, is please ask God and Jojo and Spirit and everybody to just smile maybe on Liam and give us the ability to give Liam an awesome afternoon and make him feel like this life is worth living. Poor guy. All right. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins a race. Don't take no wooden nickels. Remember what your number one job is. All the best. And the only thing left for Brian to say now is bye for now, folks.